Hello, welcome to the story of how I bricked my goddamn launch day Nintendo Switch and how I am equal parts mad at myself and at Nintendo for it all. Please comment and thumb and sub and do all the things, because it'll make me slightly happier about all this, I suppose. It probably won't, but it helps anyway, because YouTube robot mind. Hello again, I am Blunty. This is obviously a Nintendo Switch. In fact, this is my launch day Nintendo Switch, which makes it 5 years, 4 months, and 16 days old as of recording. And it's been in use at least once or twice a week since launch, and more recently since Monster Hunter Rise came out, pretty much every day. It's got heavy use. It spent most of its life in the dock, because I almost exclusively play in docked mode. I only take it out of the dock sometimes when I travel, and even then, sometimes I don't take it because I've also got a Switch Lite, which is, more travel friendly. But a couple of months ago, I had reason to take it out of the dock when I was reviewing this little Nixie chonky Joycon replacement thingamabob doodler right there, which revealed to me that in between the last time I had it out of the dock and when I was reviewing those, the battery had started swelling on me. Look at this nasty bulge right here. It's not supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be nice and flat. Now, lithium batteries, when they start to swell like that, start to get a bit dangerous. I mean, it's not sort of super emergency, but you do want to do something about that. I left it a little bit longer than I really should have because, well, I get lazy sometimes. But I have, in fact, now ordered a battery replacement kit, which is this little Elec Gear one right here, or just off Amazon. It's like 30 bucks Australian. Couldn't find it on the American Amazon, so the link in the down below will just be to the Australian one for those of you who it's useful to. But the other thing the battery did when it swelled up is it actually managed to crack my case, and I don't know whether I'll get the camera to pick up on this. Now you can just see, focus please, there you go, you can just about see some of the cracks around the screws and stuff like that when it was expanding. So I figured now would be a fun time to actually try out one of these battery replacement kits. Back plate replacement kits, and this one is from Extreme Rate, transparent clear purple, because, well, you know, if you're a Nintendo fan, you're obviously a fan of transparent purple stuff, right? Right, of course you are. What they used to call it? It was I forget. They had a marketing name for it. I put it there. No, there. That was off screen. Put it right there. That. So, battery replacements for the Nintendo Switch are not big, shiny news, so I'm not going to cover this in too much detail here, but we will look at the kit because it comes with everything I need here. There's a little battery spudger remover thing, because the battery in Nintendo Switches is glued in. I'm not filled with confidence that they chose metal of all things, because you don't want to accidentally pierce a lithium-ion battery with a metal tool, because if you do that, it will burst into flames, very aggressive flames. So, yeah, I'm not filled with confidence over that. It does, you know, it is labeled specifically for Nintendo Switch. It's got a little picture of a Switch and everything on there, but I don't think that's the smartest tool they could possibly have included. Plastic would have been better. We also get some screwdrivers here because, of course, Nintendo love using teeny tiny and non-standard screw. I mean, they've got a little bit better about it recently. Got a little plastic spudger there. That's for lifting off the memory card thingamadoodler thing there, which you need a spudger to get off, and also the battery clip. That's the safe way to do that. I've got some better spudgers than that. I'll probably use mine. And then, of course, we've got the two types of screwdriver here. And, of course, there's the battery. These things are not hard to come by. All you have to do really is search Amazon or, you know, your shopping site of choice, or HAC-003, and you'll find a whole bunch of these. Usually there are 4,310 milliamp hour. You will find some slightly bigger ones hovering around as well. But yeah, so this one comes in a nice little pouch here. We've got the foam pre-applied to one side, which is nice. So we've got a little sticky pad there, so you can stick it down inside the machine so it doesn't rattle about on you. So that seems fairly well sought out. Now, I think we'll just montage our way through the battery replacement thing, because I don't need to make a tutorial or a guide on that, because, well, sites like iFixit and whatnot exist, don't they? And they do a very good and concise job of it. So, I'll see you back here in a moment, and we'll have a talk about this little chappy right here, which is its own little bag of tricks. So, disassembly went without incident. The included screwdrivers were just well, they were just trash quality, but good enough to get the job done, so fine, no worries. Of course, in typical Nintendo style, it's a mix of bloody tri-wing screws for no good reason except to annoy people, and normal everyday industry standard Phillips screws. Whoops, nope, got that one wrong. Fun fact, despite them looking almost exactly like Phillips head screws, they're actually JIS screws, Japanese Industry Standard, which is slightly different in profile to Phillips, which means you can use a Phillips head screwdriver in them, but if you do so, you risk stripping them, as Phillips drivers are designed to cam out when excessive torque is applied, and JIS won't. And the slight difference in this profile design means using a Phillips screwdriver in a JIS screw, well, you can ruin it real quick. So be mindful of that, and if you've ever stripped the absolute shit out of a crosshead screw on a Nintendo device or other Japanese manufactured device, now you know why that probably happened. It's also why repair kits like this one tend to supply screwdrivers, even if they are cheap crap, because, well, the people who sell these things don't want to deal with the customers ruining shit by using a Phillips head screwdriver, which we're much more likely to have, aren't we? Now, by the time I get the metal shield off, I check the thermal goop. This stuff is much, much thicker than normal thermal paste you'd normally see on, like, PC CPUs and the like stuff people like me tend to have lying around in drawers. But that stuff is not designed to bridge gaps this big, so you can't really use it to replace this stuff. But luckily, as I'd forgotten to actually buy some new appropriate goop, this stuff was still quite malleable, hadn't dried out or gone flaky or anything, so I could respread it without much issue when it came to reassembly, and it would be fine. And now, the battery. And also where everything went horribly, horribly wrong. So, using my safer plastic spudger to start levering it out, because the metal one they supplied in the kit scares the crap out of me, as a person who has seen firsthand what happens when you accidentally puncture, pierce, or tear a lithium-ion battery and expose the electrolyte inside to the air, creating a chain reaction that leads to a thermal runaway event, otherwise known as a huge friggin' fire, which, trust me, it's scary. But it's also why I had an old metal cooking pot on hand so I could dump the battery in that if the worst starts happening, instead of, letting it set fire to my desk. So anyway, I knew Nintendo stuck these things down with a bit of glue or, double-sided tape or something so they don't move and rattle around inside the case. That's sensible enough. What I didn't know is the adhesive they chose to use is some kind of scientific anomaly that bonds the very atoms of the case to the battery directly while showing its freshly bleached butthole to the very concept of standard model physics. Because this thing is in their sun. I was using a little spray of isopropyl alcohol on the spudger intermittently to try and help loosen up the adhesive, but man, there is just no good or sensible reason for Nintendo to use an adhesive this aggressive just to stick down a battery so I won't rattle around. Except, of course, to be the world's biggest cock wounds to self-repair people, which, classic Nintendo, really? Don't know why I'm even surprised. Unfortunately for me, I applied a little too much, mechanical advantage while trying to wriggle my spudger under the battery, and I didn't notice that I was mechanically advantaging against the battery cable socket. A tiny, fragile thing that was naught but surface-mounted in one of the most annoyingly frail engineering choices you could make for a part that relies on mechanical connections of a plug-and-socket arrangement. Why was this surface-mounted? Good grief! Now, I'm no stranger to a soldering iron. I spent massive amounts of my youth with a soldering iron in my hand, and I also have begrudgingly worked with surface-mounted components before, once or twice, which I hate them. They're a pain in the ass, fiddly little bastards. But this, I don't currently have the tools to fix this myself. So what I did right there was effectively brick my Switch. It is useless now because in their endless wisdom, Nintendo made it so even with a direct USB power connection, the Nintendo Switch itself will not operate, will not even turn on without a battery in the circuit. Interesting choice, Nintendo. Thanks for that. Now, this isn't beyond repair. It's not bricked forevermore, but it is Well, it is beyond what I'm able to do with the tools I have, and frankly, beyond my current capabilities and my very rusty soldering skill set, because while I'm no stranger to soldering, it's been a while since I've done anything but, solder a few wires together for like a switch on a modded PC case or something. So, for all intents and purposes, it's bricked, it's dead, it's DOA, RIP, which is sad. RIP indeed, launch day Switch. You lasted 5 years and 2 months of very heavy use before your battery tried to kill you, and then I finished the job just 2 months later because Nintendo went overkill on some glue, and I was not patient enough, or smart enough to try a solvent soak before trying to force my way through it. Equal parts my fault and Nintendo as far as I'm concerned. Lesson learned though. Next time, if there is ever a next time I have to do this, I'll do it differently. Luckily, well not luckily, I did this quite deliberately, but I didn't even attempt this repair until I had a replacement Nintendo Switch, which is why it took me 2 months to do this. Thank you very much, Amazon Prime Day sales and the $130 below retail price you saved me on a brand new Nintendo Switch. I have, of course, already transferred all of my save files by the cloud or manual transfer because fucking Nintendo doesn't allow cloud saving on certain titles for stupid reasons that are beyond me and are immensely frustrating, which means for certain games, if your Switch dies on you unexpectedly, well, your save files are just gone because they don't back up to the cloud. F you, Nintendo, you sods! But of course, as angry as that makes me, I did know this in advance, so I prepared for it and transferred those save files. I also backed up all of my screenshots and video captures from the old Switch, so I've not actually lost any data in this event. Everything I needed was already on the new Switch, or transferred to a backup on the PC or whatnot. Still sad to kill my launch day Switch, though. So, what about that backplate? Well, I do have another Nintendo Switch, another launch period one, in fact, which I also bought on a Prime Day sale. And that one is a model manufactured before they patched out the handy little exploit. So this Switch is my hacked Switch for dicking about with homebrew and mods and stuff like that. So I might as well put the purple backplate on this guy. The warranty's long gone anyway, and it will help differentiate it at a glance as my modded and hacked Switch, so, why not? The backplate kit doesn't come with any instructions, but frankly it's all pretty straightforward. It also comes with a complete set of replacement screws, which is a nice touch, just in case you strip the shit out of those not Phillips head screws Nintendo decided to use, or are replacing a backplate damaged enough to have maybe lost some screws along the way or something. It also comes with an actually pretty nice metal screwdriver handle and the 2 different bits you'll need. I'll just use the ones from my battery replacement kit to save me from swapping out the heads in this screwdriver handle as I work because, well, that's just a little bit of a pain in the ass, but still, it's quite nice. So the backplate comes off in the regular way, and this is a super basic replacement, so you'll actually need to cannibalize some parts from the old backplate. Luckily, I just so happen to have one that's seen better days because the battery swelled up and tried to crack it in half. So, I'll save the otherwise pristine backplate from the actual hack Switch and just use the junker from my old main Switch. So we take some parts from the kickstand and move them across to the new backplate. It feels mechanically the same, and by that I mean exactly as flimsy and as shitty as the original Nintendo kickstand ever was. In my haste and lingering annoyance at bricking my Switch, I forgot a couple of things as I fit the backplate back on. Namely, the game cartridge cover flap thingy, and also the speaker grills. Anyway, I disassemble the thing again, fix my skipped steps, and also apply the little foam pads at the bottom corners, which I also forgot, and reassemble once more. And I'm pretty happy with the result, actually. It looks clean, it fits nice, no squeaks or creaks or anything. It fits just as secure and tight as the OG backplate. It is, of course, a little sad that the metal shielding covers most of the interesting circuitry of the Switch you'd normally want exposed with a clear case like this, making the transparent nature not quite as nifty as it could have been, but still, I like it. A little bit fun, a little bit retro. They also make matching shells for the Joycons too, so I might try those next. But yeah, do pour one out in the comments for the OG launch day Switch, whose live unboxing and subsequent 12 hours or more worth of Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild resulted in my highest streaming views ever over on Twitch, thanks to the Australian time zone, meaning I was one of the first in the world to own a Nintendo Switch and stream with it, so a bunch of people sort of waiting for their launch were watching me play on mine. That was a good day. That was a real good day. Super fun. Good memories attached to this little guy. Maybe someday I'll try to repair it, but for now, your corpse may rest in a box on a shelf somewhere. Rest well, buddy. Rest well. And long live the new standard Nintendo Switch I got to replace you, which does quite delightfully run a little bit cooler, so that's nice. And no, I didn't get the OLED one. I saw little point in doing that, as like I said, it spends most of its life docked, so that bigger, better screen is kind of wasted on me. Plus, I only barely scraped enough room in my budget for a regular Switch anyway. And even then, only with the significant discount thanks to the Prime Day sale. And on the matter of money and scraping by, thanks and long live the patrons who, well, actually, I blame for killing my Switch, because it was some of your money I used to buy the new battery that led to this murder of this beautiful piece of electronics and screamingly annoying engineering choices from Nintendo. Thanks for watching. I am Blunty, and I will catch you next time.